Hi guys, morning. I really hope it was a good morning for you. Uh, to start with, yesterday we had a couple of sessions in terms of the interviews. Um, Looks like there is a lot of preparation that is needed from in terms of the first 2 minutes, how to approach the first question in terms of tell me about yourself. Uh, and one predominantly the common factor that I found in most of us, okay, that was justifying ourselves without the interviewer asking for it. Okay, so the decisions are already made by you, right? The past is the past, you can't change that. And now going back and justifying that during an interview is not necessary right now, unless otherwise they're asking for it. Okay, so when somebody asks us a question in an interview, it's definitely not needed for us to immediately feel insecure and start justifying our past decisions. Avoid that. That is something which we have to avoid because we can't do that. See, we made a decision at some point in our life and we have to live with it. And the interviewer has to live with it too. So you don't have to justify your decisions at all. Don't try doing that right now. So that is something which actually puts you on the back foot if you start doing that. Try and avoid that. Okay, so let's say why did you choose biomedical engineering is a question. Let's say for which it is absolutely not okay for you to start justifying your choice, right? What I mean is, I opted for MBBS. I didn't get it, and I had to look for the other option. That may be true in some of your cases, not all. I know that for a fact. But those some of the cases that you have this as a reality, you can just say at that point of time it was a collective decision, and we made a decision together as a family. And I also gave my thought process in it, and it was a collective decision, and we made a decision that I will go for biomedical engineering, and that's it. You don't have to talk about the negatives in terms of the decision making, that what are the choices you had, what are the negatives in the other choices that you have. தேவையில்லை. Just concentrate on the decision that you made. That's it. You don't have to explain or justify the decisions that you have taken. Okay, so try and frame your sentences accordingly. If you go for justifying every of your past decisions, it is it is going to be a vicious cycle. It won't end. You have to constantly keep doing that. Your decision, don't be insecure about it, right? Okay, so that is something which I wanted to share. In terms of tell me about yourself, again, a lot of practice is needed. Couple of you impressed. Some of you who did yesterday, I still feel uh, they haven't got the gist of what we discussed in the class, in the sessions related to tell me about yourself. Uh, Try to bring about the information a little more in an interesting manner. Plus, bring out your strengths, your what you bring to the table. What are you? What is the skill set that you possess, and why would you be a value addition for that company? So that is going to be your answer. And for each company, this could be different because as yesterday or day before, we had a couple of questions related to um, uh, we are from BME and we are attending IT interviews. How does it work, right? So in that scenario, how will you make up the skill set and the abilities that you bring to the table? At the same time, if it is a organization, a company from your stream, biomedical stream, so then how do you present that answer? So it differs a little bit, not extremely, but a little bit. There is a nuanced difference. How do we manage that difference? How do we give our answers to tell me about yourself is important. Please start practicing if not already, and if you already start practicing, don't stop. So that is something which I wanted to communicate right away. Okay, so now time to start the interview sessions again. Okay, so I'm still going to give a chance to volunteers. If there is no volunteers, then I will have to pick and choose. So, any volunteers for interviews? Okay, mull about it, think about it. At the same time, how many of you are yet to complete the GD sessions? I think we have two people, right? Priyanka and one more person was there. Priyanka, who else? Priyanka? Priyanka, can you hear me? One more person along with Priyanka is supposed to complete their GDS today. Since there was a problem in terms of recording, we couldn't continue. We have to finish it today. So let's plan a schedule for that. Okay, so yeah, let's. All right. Who else? All right. Thank you. All right. Okay. Any volunteers for the interviews? None. All right. Let me then point at people to come forward, please. How about Praveen? Praveen, you there? Please respond. Mr. Praveen, not available. How about Gayatri? Hi, morning. All right. Would you be okay to proceed with the interview right now? All right. Okay. So, Gayatri, thank you for coming forward. All right. I have your resume, Gayatri. I'm looking at it, and then I'm just having one curious question right now, which is related to your choice of stream. You have chosen biomedical engineering, and I would like to know why this decision was made at that point of time. Can you brief me a little bit about that, please? Okay. Okay. So that's been your choice all along, or you had some other choice and you chose this among many choices? Okay. Okay. So you mean to say, Gayatri, you um, are really interested in getting through with this IAS exams and stuff. I'm just worried a little bit. Why are you here? You could actually do that full time, right? Why do you want to work and then parallelly do that? Because I understand IAS is not a joke. It takes a lot of effort and time, right? So how do you plan to manage both work as well as preparing for IAS exams? Okay, so the next obvious question from me is going to be, how are you going to manage? Because work, I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be 8 to 5, right? You will start in the morning, and it might most of the time your involvement goes beyond office hours. So you may have to work extended shifts. You may have to work from home. That could be calls from our clients at various part of the day. I'm just worried in terms of how you are going to manage your time. The reason you said you can manage, I believe you, but at the same time, I can't do that. I'm a person who's really organized, but at the same time, I I can't organize two important, very important things on the same day. It's going to be really a challenging task because we all have a limited period of time every day. So my question is, if you're spending 60% of the time at work, and then you spend at least 15 to 20% of your time in sleep and having food and other stuff. Imagine you just have got minimal time otherwise. So how are you going to utilize that time, because it's going to be scattered here and there. It won't be a continuous period also. So I'm just really worried in terms of your efforts in terms of work, or for that matter in terms of IAS. I'm just worried on that. Okay, thank you, Gayatri. Okay, thanks, Gayatri. um, so who's going next? Yes, Saranam. Hi, Saranam. We did it yesterday. No. No. Okay. All right. Thanks, Saranam. Thanks for volunteering. Sure. Saranam, why don't you brief me a little bit about yourself? Start with your, your information, basic information, and why don't you tell us what you are, who you are? Okay. Right. That is something which I would like to pick up from what you answered, Saravanan, which is initially your interest was in MBBS. You wanted to become a doctor. Later on, you had a, uh, you understood what it is about, and there is a change in terms of what you wanted to do. So then you, had an option of picking a biomedical engineering, which you did, and then now you are, moving from this to, um, programming. So you said you did a couple of courses and you know a couple of languages which you mentioned right now, and so this is, uh, I feel there is a constant shift in your interest from one area to another, which is something which is consistent with you. Um, so what do you think is your future? Okay. Okay. All right. One more question for you, Sarunan. I felt your interest is genuine, but at the same time, um, why do you think this change happened? You mentioned that MBBS was not your cup of tea because you learned something about it. You understood that is not, what you would like to do all your life. So your interest changed from that to something else. And now, when you're doing biomedical, you also have a programming, backup, right? That is your backup. So why that as a backup? Why not something else? Okay. Okay. Thank you, Saran. Who wants to go next? Any volunteers? Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Katija. Thank you for volunteering. Katija, tell me, what is your uh, actual passion? Is it related to your stream of studies or something else? Okay. That is related to your stream of studies, right? Right. Okay. My next question then would be, why not now? Why later? Okay. So, what do you think you know about yourself in terms of your strengths and weaknesses, which actually will be, helpful whenever you make that plunge into being an entrepreneur? Right. Okay. Thanks, Kachija. Anyone else? Any volunteers? Okay. Thank you, Gayatri. Thank you, Saranan. Thank you, Khatija. Right. Now, feedback time, right? Again, the point that I started with, don't try and justify your decisions. Um, don't try to be smart in terms of your answers. Your answers need not be smart, but the way you give your answers, that has to be really, really smart. There is a difference. Okay. So, in terms of what Khatija came up with, in terms of the weakness, um, even though the way she tried communicating that, I understood a little bit, but in terms of that perfectionist, being perfectionist, something like that will not go down well, because there is kind of a positive which you're trying to project it as a negative. Uh, Honestly, this they see every day. It's not a bad choice. I'm talking about everyone. If you can actually sell this point, I'm okay with that. But then they look at it, they hear it every day, day in and day out. This is what they hear, and hence they might understand another person coming up with such a idea in terms of weakness, right? So my suggestion still would be, come up with a real weakness that you really have, okay, and how do you overcome it? I understand you, said perfectionist. If doesn't, if the result doesn't go well, um, the problem is you get upset, you get bogged down. Yes, that's fine. But then don't say that perfectionist as a word, right? You just try and communicate that I get upset if I don't get my results, if I, something like that. Don't say that perfectionist word, because that's where it looks like you're trying to bring a positive as a negative. So be smart in the way you answer. Okay, that is one. And in terms of, one thing I was very, very impressed was Saravanan's way of handling the jump, right? So from his interest from one to another, now in terms of uh, learning programming skills. But then you made a mistake, Saranam. When I was asking about these jumps and why programming, you said that was near you, or that is something which was you didn't have to go in search for, that was available immediately, so something like that, right? So again, that will be looked at a negative as a negative thing. The reason is you chose something which is there. It was not really a choice. Since it's there, you chose it. Something like that. So even though you had something else in mind, maybe, possibly you wanted to communicate something else, this is what your answer came through. Okay, so try and uh, use better way of answering. Keep practicing. This is how the line of questioning will be in an interview, where they will keep focusing on the area that where you might be vulnerable, right? Your insecurities, your areas where you think you are making up stories. This is where they're going to stick to and ask questions. Okay, so try and uh, get yourself ahead of those issues that you may come up with. Try and practice, keep practicing your answers. Just that your answers should not look like a smart answers அப்படின்ற மாதிரி இல்லாம, the way you put it across, that should be really really smart. Okay, the idea that you will have to communicate in every answer is, hey dude, I understand what you're trying to ask. Here it is, I'm answering you. So that is how you'll have to project everything. Okay, at no point you should be caught in a web of questions without understanding the real reason the question is being asked. You should understand why a person is asking a particular question, and why the person is sticking to that particular area for a longer period of time in terms of questioning. So you understand that, you'll be able to crack it. Okay, all right. Anything else? Okay. If not, we'll continue with the interview sessions in the afternoon. Anytime after 1:32, I'll be available. I think already one team has asked for a time for today. So if there is anyone else who's planning for today, please come up with a group and then plan. One more thing we missed out today is the videos. So all the three must have gone on a video and then video mode, and then gave the interviews. But that's okay. It was a miss from my end. I should have notified you guys. But going forward, every interview must happen with the video on from your end. Okay. Anything else? Nothing? Okay. Thank you for joining. Looking forward to your. I think one more GD session is there between Priyanka and the other person, and all the interview sessions. I'm looking forward to those things. And as a class, class we'll meet tomorrow, right? All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.